Hello and welcome back to the Smite EU Regional Championships here in Cologne, Germany. Now with me I have DM as my expert. DM, it's nice that you have some time to join me here. We've just seen some really cool games and we have some more coming up with the next two teams. So let's talk a little bit about them. Let's start with Team Solomid. They recently had some changes in their roster. Actually, they had a hunter change going on where their coach jumped in and is now their hunter. Do you think this is going to make them play a lot different than we saw before?
Well, before, when they had Young Bay at the launch tournament, they were successful, and they met a lot of confusion when they decided to go for the trade. But Smec wasn't quite working out afterwards. They bring Zimstar off the bench, and he's been playing incredibly. Trixtank feels a lot more comfortable in the duo lane with him. We could see some early kills, given the duo lane's aggression history.
So now that their coach jumped in as their hunter, they do have a new coach, which is actually an ex-NA player.
Yes.
Do you think that's going to play in as well, to have maybe the inside of a former player?
You know, honestly, at first I didn't think that ShadowQ was going to have as much potential as he does, but watching him this weekend, it's been incredible. Zimstar on the hunter role is twice as good as anyone thought he was going to be. Overall, the roster changes have been very strong, and I think we're going to see a lot of potential come out of this team.
That sounds great. So let's actually take a look at the first team. And that was Team Solomid, which we will be seeing going up against SK Gaming. So a few words about that team. They have been boot camping leading up to this event, and they did it very secretive as well.
Yes.
What do you think we can expect from them now?
Well, the SK headquarters are actually not too far from the ESL studios, so they've been kind of hiding, discussing strategies, scrimming a lot less than every other team, but still putting a lot of work in. I think if any team's going to bring out something super crazy, I think it's going to be the guys in SK.
Do you feel like Team Solomid is going to be prepared for something like that?
Yes and no. I mean, Team Solomid has always been kind of a textbook team. They deal very well with pressure, though. I mean, going back to the launch tournament, they were not only very successful against their opponents in the early stages, but even in the later stages of the tournament, they were absolutely dominant, dropping 2 games throughout the entire event.
Oh, wow. So, okay, we definitely have a good game coming up.
Absolutely.
If you would have to predict the winner there, where would your tendency be?
I think it's going to rely a lot on the solo lane and a lot on the duo lane. The mid's going to be generally even, so I'm looking a lot at Game Hunter, a lot at Maniac, and actually a lot of the supports in Badger and Trixtank. Whoever gets the early lead, I think, is going to take the game. I don't think there's going to be a back and forth like we saw with Cloud9. I think it's going to be straight through, staircase all the way through the graphs. Either team could take it, though.
All right, that does sound promising, and we are ready for the game, so let's just head over to our casters.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 2 out of round number 1 here in Cologne, Germany. My name is hi-rez Bart, and this lovely gentleman to my right, your left, is the one and only hi-rez Hindu man, and we are all set to go for TSM versus SK Gaming. And, well, as Brandon mentioned, this one seems to come down a lot to those outside lanes. Hindu man, fill us in a little bit on kind of how that runs down.
Relatively, between the two of them, is going to be kind of crazy because the solo lane, Maniac versus Game Hunter. Now, these two go backwards and forwards quite a lot. However, Game Hunter plays a lot of Loki.
Okay, yeah,
now,
he does.
If he can get his hands on this Loki, he's got an 86% win ratio.
That'll do. What are the keys to success for SK Gaming, you think?
Keys to success for SK Gaming. They really need to make sure they keep Game Hunter shut down.
Yeah. And
they've got to also make sure, I mean, speaking of them, let's look at the video first.
Yeah, let's take a look at their intro video, and we'll see if we can find a way for them to win. SK Gaming, definitely an exciting team to watch, and tends to be one of the stronger teams we see in LAN, especially here in Cologne. As Brandon mentioned also, their gaming house less than a kilometer away from the hotel the players stay at. So
that's right.
It's a really big advantage for them and has paid dividends before.
Exactly. Last time they came here, they won. They beat Coast in the final. Goodbye, Coast.
Yeah, RIP.
Rip Coast. But yeah, I mean, they came here last time, did a really good performance, and they weren't doing great before that either. But then when they got to LAN, they boot camped. They've been boot camping here again this time round.
Indeed.
They've got a lot of things. They've been very quiet as well, but we've not heard much from them.
No,
we've been able to sit around with the teams for the most part.
Not SK.
Not so much.
I know. I didn't even see them until like day 2. So, well, guys, as you can see, we are moving into the picking and banning phase. Left side of your screen is going to be SK Gaming. Right side is Team Solomid. Our first ban's coming out. Bakasura off of the table for SK.
That is a focus ban.
Absolutely.
Straight to TSM, because for some reason TSM have been practicing and they've done a lot with Qvo for playing it jungle, not solo.
That's right, yeah. That's a really interesting kind of differentiation to make there, because we have exclusively seen that god in the solo lane.
That's right.
And, you know, out of the jungle, his biggest kind of deficiency perhaps is that he doesn't bring a lot in terms of gank potential, really, without a hard CC. I mean, you have to kind of dive to get those kills. However, he does happen to be a specialist at that. But our remaining bans here are Ra going out on the side of SK Gaming, Sylvanas and Thor banned out by TSM. And, well, there's a kind of split understanding of how properly strong Sylvanas is. Some teams value him. Some teams think that he is highly counterable.
A lot of teams haven't worked him out yet. I think that's a big issue of what he actually brings to the team in terms of push power in the laning phase.
Absolutely.
He can make a very weak hunter in the laning phase become very, very strong and get to that stage later on. Quick response to Vulcan and Frey. Frey, not surprised. Qtrs Fred loves that god. But
look at the snap picks from SK Gaming.
That Vamana pick.
Yeah.
Maniac.
Maniac's best god, yeah.
88% win ratio.
So it's going to be an 88 going into potentially an 86.
Yeah, that's what the big ratio is.
We'll see if they draft the Loki. He seems like I would not be surprised at all to see SK Gaming ban it here. He's a great counter to Cirquette, burst damage blowing her up. But, you know, Game Hunter does not have necessarily a small god pool here. So blowing that onto Loki leaves open some picks that they could really use as kind of their swing here. Notably, they have their 80s, what appears to be their Hunter and their jungler in Freya and on her, their support. So, you know, it's kind of this question now in SK, do we ban out the support or we ban out the Loki? On the side of TSM, they ban out Apollo, and indeed SK Gaming has taken away Game Hunter's Loki. What is he going to take into the solo lane versus Vamana?
I mean, the decisions are, he's got available. Chak is one that could be available to them. These picks are so quick.
It's an area, you know, well, traditionally this would be an Ares and Freya lane like we saw in the previous set.
That's right.
But that puts on her in the jungle, which I don't think is going to be the case, so...
But Ares is very, very good against Circuit. A lot of people don't realize the cripple is
huge.
No ambush.
All of her damage is gone.
No deathbane. She can't escape anywhere if she gets hit by it.
But this could be, I mean, it's a stretch, I feel like, but it could go to the solo lane of that Ares. Has a decent matchup against Vamana with Divine Ruin. But no, that makes a lot more sense there as they take a look at Chalk over on TSM. In the meantime, SK Gaming has selected their duo lane last. It's Rama and Amir.
Now that Rama pick, normally SK Gaming through the whole SPL, they prioritize Rama was never picked lower than the third pick.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's not
goes deep.
But TSM wanted them to play Rama. They picked on her, they banned Apollo. The only other hunter viable is either Ul or Rama. Reels is happy on Rama.
Yeah, that's been, you know, not a pocket pick, but definitely has been the preferred pick.
This is TSM, this is Zimstar, technically as well, because Zimstar's the new AD carry. He's saying,
I like the matchup. Now, that's another thing that, you know, we didn't really touch on much is that, you know, Zimstar coming in doesn't have a lot of experience against these players. No. So, you know, how is he going to match up? How well does he actually know kind of the general mindset of a player like Reels?
True, but maybe at the same time, they don't know his mindset.
Fair.
Does he go aggressive? Does he play passive in lane?
Yeah.
Does he look for the pick if he can find it? You know, they don't know him as well like they would do against Spec or another AD carry that they play against very, very often.
And they'll be going up against a really, really dangerous lane in that on her and Ares combination. Tremendous amount of damage there. A lot of chain slow as well, no pun intended. And, well, it shuts down a lot of Reels' ability to be aggressive. Once you take the roll out of the equation, it's much harder for Rom to really effectively lane. He's going to be forced to stand and fight a lot in the early stages if those chains hit.
That's right. I mean, as well with those chains, one thing to mention about Trixtank, he's got a 100% win ratio on Gem in the SPL. 100%. 7 games played, 1-7.
And they've drafted Ares over it. Yeah.
They picked Ares over it.
Well, you never know. Hey, it's Europe. So as we know, if there's one thing we know about European Smite, it's that the rules are all made up and the points don't matter. But let's go ahead and move into game. Ladies and gentlemen, it's game number 1. SK Gaming versus Team Solomid. And, well, we are getting underway here, and it looks like this one is, well, set up to be a very, very aggressive game.
It is. I mean, like DM said, solo lane is going to be very contentious between the two. Whoever wins that is going to dominate the map, but then duo as well. Duo, Reels technically should have the advantage of his himself just because of bare experience in the Pro League. He's very, very controlling, very, very good. And the way Trixtank's playing at the moment, I'll be honest, me and DM were both like, I think Trix is back.
Yeah, I've heard those whispers that he looks like he's really playing at a very, very high level once again. Now, as you saw in that matchup, though, TSM has had SK's number historically throughout the SPL with a 3-to-1 advantage in games.
Yeah, 3-to-1 advantage on the screen, as you can see there as well. 3-to-1 in the games. I mean, 1 week they didn't have Trixtank, and 1 week SK did not have Captain Twig. So they've both had like a few little changes there. The 1 week they didn't have Captain Twig, TSM won. The 1 week where they didn't have Trixtank, I believe it still went in favor of TSM as well.
Well, we are looking at the team's early rotations here. Nothing too exciting going to be hitting the table. Just a couple of wards being placed out here and there.
Oh, Mark of the Vanguard on Badger here. He's not gone for Watcher's Gift.
Interesting. That's the deal with the Ares. The Searing Flesh damage is almost entirely mitigated in the early game by the Mark of the Vanguard. However, this does hurt his GPM, so they need to find kills off of that early aggression power. Also, Mark of Vanguard notably is going to produce minion damage by quite a bit. So look for the counter initiation. They may try to be baiting out the Ares here.
Yeah, I mean, if they can really continue to bait him out and force him into bad positions, they can try and counter-initiate, force the issue, especially with the walls that you make and put out in the reels with those slows as well from the Astral Strength. Now, looks like Game Hunter's going to come over and try to throw out an axe here, see if he can get a steal. Not going to find it, so wasting his time a little bit. And Zero's Maniac going to go aggressive here onto Qvo, who's still trying to bring down the speed buff.
Yeah, you know, all things told here, it's looking like this game is, at least in some ways, starting off early in favor of SK here.
The Hog was so early coming out, and now he's going to go over to SK Gaming.
Fred, luckily for him, no taunt coming out from Zeros there, as Zero's going to dash forward, do some damage to Game Hunter, and they're just going to force him out of the lane. Was that the sprint pop by Game Hunter there? Did I see it? No. I don't. Yeah, I did. Yeah, he popped his sprint there, so 60 seconds. He's not going to have that. Of course, not going to yield too much, as Vamana's not going to get aggressive at this stage, but an early victory for SK Gaming there.
That's right. I mean, at the early stages of this game right now, it's going very, very well for SK Gaming. They put the pressure on early. Game Hunter went aggressive, looking for mid-camps for the steal. Okay, but then he should have checked his back as well to see he was being followed. He was, and that gave away the blue buff as well. He hogged too early.
Look at the KDA disparity between Maniac and Game Hunter there. 3.1 on the side of Game Hunter, 1.9 on Maniac. Game Hunter's had a lot of success in the later stages of the game, where I think Maniac has often followed up, but a lot of it comes down to God selection. He picks more of the Chang'as, the Ras, the Aphrodites that aren't quite as kill-oriented in the later stages of the game, where Game Hunter's looking at Vamanas and Lokis that really are bringing the pressure.
That's right. And the one thing about this lane as well is the fact that Vamana and Circuit will push this a little bit harder than Freya Chat can, to an extent, just because Freya has to use that pulse damage, but she didn't hit level 2 because she didn't get the blue buff, which means they didn't have any push in that lane. So now they can rotate back to their own jungle, get assistance on that blue buff, so Maniac's going to be fine, and Zero's going to continue his jungle route as Freya heads into hers too.
And also a really, really aggressive build coming out of the Game Hunter here, going that Death's Toll up against the Vamana. Normally you would see the Rune Forge similar to what Vamana has here. It does give him that bit of mana regen, which will help him out though, considering he lost his blue buff. So
a little bit of sustain as well coming out from that Death's Toll as well, which will help out, because obviously the lifesteal he'll get from it as well. I mean, Chuck, he's a little bit heavy on the mana early, but he still has that passive, which means every 5th ability is free.
That's right, yeah. The clear cast is going to help him out here. Left side lane, we have a bit of a skirmish going on. As leaping forward is Zimstar. Stun comes out onto Badger. Badger going to be in a bit of trouble here, but no, they're going to be forced to disengage as those archers were still alive.
Good bit of poke damage down for them now. They're going to push the wave on, but can they get anything else off it? That's the question. I mean, they're looking around and like, well, I guess we just retreat back to tower. There's nothing else for us to do, but nice poke.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day here, when I'm not sure exactly how well SK Gaming is going to fare once this laning stage breaks. I feel like that TSM has a bit of a stronger team fight potential, especially with that big Chalk AoE ultimate and as well as Ares coming out. I think the key to success here for SK looking at their draft is going to be using that Amir to get the early Gold Fury, which is really, this god really excels at the early Gold Fury, the ultimate doing a tremendous amount of damage while zoning.
He does. I mean, as well, he's also going to have, Ares is going to have to get Blink to make sure he can jump over that wall that's going to be put down by Badger, if it does do so. On top of that, SK's composition here is all about picks. If you notice it, you've got freeze with your Mei, but on top of that, they're going to also have this Cat and the new wall, which you'll be able to use that global ultimate to be able to influence and pick up the kill if they need to. So just keep an eye on that, as once again, you can see Zimpentrix going very aggressive in their duo lane. You can see Circuit floating around as Lobster is going to catch Zeros out of position as he throws on a ward himself. As mid-camps do spawn, looks like SK is going to get the left side. Right still available, though.
Yeah, right is still here. Maniac had an opportunity to pick those up, but elected to not start them. Waiting for Zeros, I suppose, to come over and leech that experience, but it does give the free back to Chalk, which is really important, right? He gets a free wave and a free back out of that, and given that blue buff steal early, that helps him out a lot. Game Hunter with the heads-up play.
Exactly, and now you can see Maniac, they'll rotate back to lane, push this wave in. He'll have to recall that, but he should be fine for it. But he got bonus gold out of that as well.
Look at Maniac freezing the lane here. Smart stuff, just allowing it to die. Allowing his minions to, to deny themselves, if you will, to the enemy minions.
He doesn't need to go back. He's on full mana, full HP. He's got, you know, rank 2 of the Rune Forge that he's working on, so he's got the Smithy's Hammer there. He's not in a rush to go back. If you look at Game Hunter, he's already got boost too. So, not a big difference between the two right now, but Maniac's going to deny as much as he can, stay lane as long as possible.
Yeah, interesting that the Maniac wasn't picking up the last hits on those minions, just allowing them to die, losing out on 33% gold. Yeah, got the mid-camp, so he knows he's ahead, but why not get more ahead?
That's very, very true. Very, very true. Well, talking about the Hunters as well, I mean, we were saying earlier on, Zimstar's new to the role overall. You can see, though, that while he's been on Anher, while he's been on Anher, he's got a 100% win ratio.
Yeah.
Small amount of games played, though, but still, 100%. Very, very good. Reels, on the other hand, though, 36%. It's really low.
Well, SK Gaming did definitely struggle throughout the SPL, through certainly the mid and end of it, but still putting up a 3.1 KDA. Pretty nice there. And well, his GPM also, his farm, quite good on Rom. Rom definitely a farm specialist, feels like, in some instances.
Well, once again, SK going to invade this blue buff on the right-hand side. Freya doing her speed buff. Game Hunter's going to try and contend. Is he going to do anything about that?
I mean, it's just a fantastic timing. They know that Freya's starting at the speed buff, so they go ahead and aggress at the blue when the respawn comes out. And it forces them to make an odd decision. And, well, you can kind of see a bit of SK's game plan. Let's shut down the God Hunter.
Yeah, it's kind of like, does Qtrs like, do I take my speed buff here?
Oh, they're going to try to make a play. It looks like on the right side. No, Zero's going to come into lane. Thought they were looking for a bit more aggression there. Blue buffs are up on the left side in the dual lane as well here. Double back. We'll see if Amir and Rom try to make a play. No, it's going to be Freya rotating over to pick up that Chaos side blue. Smart stuff. Great positioning coming out of TSM to secure those buffs. But as I mentioned earlier, left side's been a bit more successful for them than the right side.
It has been. I mean, the whole play on Game Hunter here at the moment of denying the blue buff is good.
Yeah.
But it's Chuck.
Right, yeah. He's like, not item dependent. Definitely not an item dependent god. Definitely not necessarily a mana dependent god. One of, well, probably the most mana efficient guardian. Warrior in the game by quite a bit, given that clear casting you mentioned earlier.
For sure.
And you know.
So
the ideal god. Like, who else would you want if they were stealing your blue buff routinely?
And he's going to be building tanky as well as the game goes on. So he's not going to really worry about falling behind in items because he's going to go full tank anyway. He's not giving damage to an extent. He may go for that, but he's putting early wards down for himself as well on both sides, keeping his lane covered. And if they keep focusing him, it's still Chuck. So he will use that ultimate, buy himself some time, get the silence off, and the team can try and make a play happen elsewhere. Mid camps again, though.
Yeah, second mid camp's coming up. Left side looks like that's where the contention is at.
Those chains were amazing.
Really
chains
well played.
Chains were banished after the full duration. They tried to get a lot of damage down onto Zero.
Trix means some trouble there. He's going to run into Badger here in Reels. He's going to go ahead and throw out that ultimate. Both ultimates going to be forced out from SK Gaming. The ultimate from Reels doing some nice damage here, but it's not enough to force TSM back, and they may be looking for the early Gold Fury here. They are known for this kind of strategy. As the mid camps come out, if you try to aggress the wrong side, they will go right to the Gold Fury. Doesn't look like it's coming out here, though. No, it is. Yeah, there it is. Zimstar starting it up. They know that they have the SK Gaming team in a really, really awkward position. But here comes a new ultimate. That's going to spot them out. They're going to try and Zimstar's tanking it up. It's not going to be enough. He's going to get down in time. Hog's coming out. Indeed, they will. Team Solomid with the first Gold Fury in 7 minutes. They're going to pick up Badger as well as he tries to aggress in. Reel's in a lot of trouble as the chains are there. Can they secure the kill? They can. They need a double kill and a Gold Fury coming out for Team Solomid. A return kill from SK.
Triple banish after Game Hunter goes down.
Much more. Yeah, they get the banish out. That
was big enough. That was big enough. I mean, if you look at it right now, the Gold Fury is great for them. Although experience still in favor of SK Gaming, even though Gold Fury went in favor of them, they got 2 kills as well, but it was a 2-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and a lot of that experience, if not all of that experience advantage, is on the back of Maniac. They're 2 levels ahead of the Game Hunter, who will not be returning the lane for some time now.
That's exactly right.
Oh, and I love this play here. These counter wards in the solo lane is something we see almost exclusively at LAN.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
I don't know why they happen online, but at LAN they run these counter wards in the solo lane, and it's tremendously successful. Not only does it put that idea in the back of your enemy solo laner's mind that the ganks are coming, it also gives you the vision advantage, which is, hey, wards win wars.
And it also means you've got to invest more gold into clearing that ward out to control your own vision.
Right.
So you know you've got control. So if you're behind in the situation like Game Hunter is,
it's just leeching gold away from them.
It's leeching more gold away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can see, SK Gaming on the left side there, once again, kind of freezing that wave, letting it, deny itself, just being very methodical in their approach to this game, it seems like. It seems like, they looked at their game and said, you know what we really need to do is we really need to deny more experience from the team and try to get that early advantage. And they're playing towards it, and they're shutting down that solo lane, but that early Gold Fury gives back TSM a lot of what they lost through these plays.
It does, but it looks like both teams have come out with a game plan, and they're both initiating it very, very well to an extent. I mean, they denied Game Hunter a lot early, put the early pressure on there, but then TSM came back and went, Gold Fury control, let's fight the Gold Fury. We forced situations that weren't good for them, got the mid-harpies, and then immediately went for the Gold Fury.
Blue buff is going to be responding on the right side here. You can already see Zero's in position, but he's probably looking for the orange this time. As it's coming back up in about 15 seconds. He's mistimed that by just a bit. I think they didn't account for how long it took Freya to clear that. Yeah, but he's going to be there in time. 10 seconds till this spawns. The ward placement is there for Zeros.
Is he ambushed yet? Is he ambushed yet?
No, not yet. Looks like he's... No, Fred.
Did he ambush?
Did Fred spot him out there? Oh, early hog coming out from Fred, though. Zero's up to commit really heavily. Game Hunter taking a lot of damage there, but it's just not enough. TSM, good rotations.
But they know the blue buff's up, and they know it's going to get contested. The thing is, the speed's now down, and now they can fight for this. You can see the mid lane is looking at it, too.
Yeah, but that being said, right side mid camp's coming back up as well, so advantage to SK Gaming for the moment.
Sorry, Prime? Lobster. I keep saying Vulcan, I'm thinking pretty Prime straight away. But Lobster was in the area as well as New One. New One's might catch out Trix Tank now on the left-hand side of these Harpies as Badger gets a good freeze-off. There's a great stun follow-up, and there's the ultimate. Trix forcing the ultimate, no escape for himself.
Zimstar going to eat that new ultimate as well. Badger going to be moving forward. Does he have the blink? He does not. So it's going to be pretty difficult for him to continue aggressing into this.
Oh, there's a fight on the right-hand side as well, being forced out. Game Hunter forced to use the ultimate. They finally defended the blue buff, but now Zim could be caught out by that wall.
Is it enough?
There's the frost. Twig picks up the kill as well. 3-2 on the scoreboard now in favor of SK.
Right camps do go in favor of TSM. Left camp still standing, but SK is, well, I'm sorry, TSM taking the right side. SK stealing left side blue, and they're looking at these camps, but it looks like they're going to let him go to TSM here. They got enough out of that last engagement. They don't feel like they should, try to give anything away potentially by pushing into these mid camps. Twig, however, going to be forced to beat. Knocked up, but he's knocked away.
Oh, the ultimate is right on top. Aegis is great, but can he juke out? No, he can't. Zeros jumps over, though. Can't follow up. Badger's still here.
That turret.
Maybe they can get mid camps. Maybe they can get Lobster. I'm not sure. No, they're going to just back off. Lobster had no mana there, but with Qvo, it's a bit too dangerous.
Yeah, Zeros is going to have a really hard time fighting into that turret from Vulcan, and you see it there kind of spelled out. But nearly enough from Twig there. He kind of juked. He zigged when he should have zagged. He kind of went back towards them instead of continuing on. But a nice Aegis, nearly saving his life. But a lot of gold invested into those new actives.
Yeah, but when you say that as well, look at the cooldowns on both of them now. It's a long time he's going to have no actives either. So if he gets caught out one more time, they'll know that they were both rank 1. Yeah. So when they go for the next Gold Fury, which will be up before they're back up, this is very important.
This is where you need to see Qvo Fred find a kill in the mid lane. They need to get the Vulcan ahead at this point.
I mean, talking about the blue buff as well, like Game Hunter got invaded twice. Eventually, he's now got his own blue buff. But the moment that he gets his own blue buff, they lose the blue buff in the duo lane instead.
Right, yeah. The aggression from SK has been really spectacular around the map, and Maniac continues to hold that 2-level advantage over Game Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kept that pressure up all the way through. Now, Game Hunter's slowly losing this tower as well, which is going to be another issue as time goes on. But I don't think Maniac wants that tower to go down just yet. When you lose a tower, when the tower goes down the lane opens up so much that it's very difficult to deny creeps, as well as find stuff to do yourself if you over-push.
Gold Fury going to be coming back up shortly here, and kind of going back to that first Gold Fury, perhaps paying out most in dividends here. Watcher's Gift Midas completed on Ares.
Zem could be in trouble. Blink, force Beads, leaps away, wall in his face, pillar in response. Good disengage, but Beads on cooldown.
Yeah, it's going to be enough, yeah. As you mentioned, Beads on cooldown, and the Freya's rotating over here to lend support, but we're going to have a fight at the Gold Fury, it looks like here shortly. Sure. That early Gold Fury, going back to that Ares, who does have the standard Midas into, Watchers into Midas, I'm sorry, versus the Vanguard into Midas boots. He's pulled ahead by now about 900 gold, I'm sorry, 600 gold over the Amir. Granted, a lot of that coming from the Gold Fury, but also those GB5 items really starting to pay out for him.
Yeah, they will do as well, and especially in the laning phase as well. They can
Fred's got a decent angle.
Well, denied by the wall. that wall needs access denied written on it. When it comes up, that's all I want is access denied. It's like a proper, that's what it's used for. But you can see TSM really looking for the advantage. If they can get a pick, they want Gold Fury. That's the whole game plan here. They might even just try and rush it to force the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think they want to fight. I think you're absolutely right there. And TSM, they have a pretty decent early game tier. Oh, Zeros,
No, you're not. You're Circuit.
Yeah, and the beads into Dash is going to be enough to save his life, but so cooldowns expended there. SK not going to be able to capitalize, it looks like. A little bit.
They forced him back to base, so now they're going to try and rotate now because they know Circuit's not here. They can look for the Gold Fury if they so choose, but they realize New Wazzle's on cooldown as well now.
Right, yeah. Oh, she's been called out a bit here by Fred. That should be able enough to force her out. Trix Tank's going to get a lot of damage out onto Badger. Badger, well, he's going to take about a third of his HP for his troubles there, and TSM once again posturing at the Gold Fury.
Well, at the moment you can see Trix actually maxed his chains there as well.
Fred.
But, Fred's caught out a little bit. Reels with the snipes over the top. Does connect all 3 before Qvo goes up. Secures the kill onto Badger. Pulling from Trix onto Zeros on the Meatball Mariana from Lobster. Finds 2 with the backfire. And now Maniac's saying, Big Baby, can you turn this?
Reels did pick off Fred in the back of that fight. Maniac is here and he's trying to disrupt it, and it's going to be successful, but not before dropping 3 kills to TSM in exchange for 2. Granted, they pick up Fred and Zimstar in exchange for their jungler, mid laner, and support.
Reels taking mid camps is really good here. If he denies these mid camps here, he goes even technically in the fight. It wasn't the worst fight in the world for either side, especially because SK Gaming had all their actives were on cooldown, and they wasted a lot of ultimates just a few seconds ago.
Yeah, you're right. They're lucky they didn't lose more there, I think, is the feeling that I'm getting out of that one. And well, Reels also find himself a kill during that engagement, picking up a kill on the backside onto Fred. So that granting him a pretty big bounty, as Fred was sitting at level 13.
Level 13, indeed. I mean, I'm just checking in with the levels as well, because we can see this disparity between Vamana and Chak right now. Level 15 to level 13. But where's the disparity elsewhere? Well, New War is a level down on Vulcan in mid lane right now, which, as the game goes on, it will become less and less. But when he first hits level 20, that's really important.
Another very important thing that's just happened here is SK's Badger has just soaked up an entire wave of farm in mid. And while it seems like a subtle play, really, really important, they didn't let that go to waste, and they get some on their least farmed god, helping him catch back up to that Ares.
But it helps him catch up with Ares, but it denies New War catching up to Vulcan, which can also be a detriment, especially when you've got, you know, the overall AoE ultimate from Fire Shards available. You want that at max rank as soon as possible.
Yeah, they would have lost some gold, but picked up some experience onto the New War there from the tower hits. So
yeah, that's right.
It's a trade that they took, and well, it's, you know, I think it's for the best. Just they need that Amir to be controlling the team fights.
I mean, it's not bad either way. It's just two different sides of the coin to an extent of what could go on in that one. I mean, you know, you can say, well, it's good for the support, but it's detrimental to the mage. We'll see as the game goes on, though. But Goldfury is still being contested by these two teams. A big group up from TSM still. They really want to try and get a pick, and Trix is like on the front lines of this area. He's trying to find it.
Yeah, that early Goldfury, very standard play for TSM, but it's definitely set the pace for the game here, where you know SK is realizing that TSM is willing and able to take these early Gold Furies, and they need to find a response. And well, when you look at it on paper, SK's, you know, the Amir and, you know, Ram should have a really, really solid contest at the Gold Fury.
They should. I mean, but the thing is, we're not really seeing too much Ymir on Badger. He's been playing a lot of Ares towards the end of the SPL at least. And, you know, seeing him on that, normally he goes to Geb as well, but going for the Ymir pick just found very strange. Real's obviously still there on that. You've got to force the ultimate, no escape being forced, forcing two ultimates out in response. And then Qvo comes in as well. Oh, they can't find it because of the rotation coming out. I like that call to back off. Qvo waited the rotation to pick them up after using those ultimates, but they had zeros in the background.
Maniac may just go ahead and tank up this tower. Yeah, he's going to take this one down. Game Hunter loses the solo lane tower first to the Vamana, whose tower is unscathed. Maniac really putting a hurting on Game Hunter. Those early blue buffs, he recovered fairly well, but still lost a lot of experience left side now. It's a Gold Fury being started up by SK Gaming. What is the response from TSM? Here is Vulcan. Lobster does have that ultimate available. Here comes Earth Shaker coming out. It's a lot on the Badger. He takes a lot of damage here. He's going to go for the stun. Fred taking to the sky. Trixtank to fall here. No, Zero's forced out of this fight. Twig going to try to stay in. Trixtank is going to be in a bit of trouble, but the minions go the other direction. The Aegis coming out from Captain Twig. Can he get out of this game under with the ultimate's going to silence out that Nuwa? Does she have her cooldowns back in time? She does not, as Lobster picks up the final kill. Zimstar with the Desert Fury through the wall. That should prevent them from taking the Gold Fury. However, they do push SK off of the mark, picking up another 2 kills.
Really big pickup for them. And that was SK who initiated the Gold Fury there. TSM put up a great defense. Maniac wasn't there in time. Game Hunter got there early as well, just to help clean up. Trick surviving was really important as well. I'm really surprised he managed to pull that one off.
Yeah, also, you know, definitely worth noting here, the Game Hunter gets his first stack very early on Height of the Urchin. Almost immediately upon completing it, we'll get that first assist, and that helps him out a lot. Continue to build up his tankiness, and he'll get there sooner rather than later. But TSM once again has started up, and well, there you see the on her pillar block, just so effective. He'll get, you know, about 1/10 of her health down before she even starts dealing damage.
Here this time.
But SK is here, and the baby, and while he's trying to zone out Fred, but they're gonna have to fight if they want to wrap around into that turret, and that's gonna force the reset. Wall coming out, trying to isolate one, but not finding it.
No one's getting any farm just yet. Real's going to return to lane to try and pick it up to make sure he can get some experience at least while everyone's hanging around. Everyone realizes now it's too risky to try and go for this. Back away for the time being, wait for the next opportunity.
Yeah, the ward's on the backside of the Gold Fury there. Purely intended to spot out when Reels is taking to the sky as the Rom.
Because you can't snipe over that wall, reach into the Gold Fury pit every single time. More and more people realize that the more you see, sorry, not Reels, Rama getting played.
Looks like it's going to be a Pestilence coming out of the Vamana here. Potentially could be a Bulwark, but Pestilence would be the clever choice going into the heal from Chalk, especially in the lane. Also, we'll shut down a bit of Bricingman's Blessing, the Freya passive, giving you that 50% lifesteal, but I mean, would you prefer to see the Bulwark here?
Well, the Bulwark will help him against Lobster, and it will help him against Qtrs Fred. If he goes Bulwark as well, when he goes in big baby form, he's generally low health.
Okay.
And then he's going to get the shield off the Bulwark, which also gives him the time to get the regen going, once again, on his big baby. So it can help.
Yeah, what seemed to be kind of a very aggressive style of game. Granted, we've had 13 kills in 18 minutes, a pretty good pace, but it's been very protracted and tactical against this Gold Fury spawn.
That's right.
And, you know, the war of attrition, however, is going the way of SK Gaming. They've taken a tower on the right side lane, and they are nearly taking a tower in the mid.
I mean, Golden Experience still even.
Oh, yeah.
That was even after the Gold Fury went in favor of TSM the first time round. And it's back to the same thing again. I feel if the next Gold Fury goes even one more time, it's going to happen at the Fire Giant, and it's just going to be one fight wins the game. That's how it's almost looking like it could be this first game. It's
SK Gaming
so sketchy and edgy.
Really needs a pick onto this Vulcan here, sitting at 4-0, leading all players by about 400 gold.
Lobster played so big in that last Gold Fury engagement, in all honesty. I mean, what happened was Qvo and him combined so well with the double banish into the Earthshaker, they just evaporated that team fight that were trying to do the gold.
That's right, but on the other side of that coin, Vamana sitting at a similar farm, only about 100 to 200 gold behind that Vulcan, depending on when you catch them, and keeping parity in levels as well at level 18. So it's a tough task. And well, the Vamana build here, look at that, going for a couple of tier 2 items here. Actually looking at this build, not necessarily surprised to see him go ahead and continue into a 5th item before going back.
I think we need to see Game Hunter go back to the solo lane here and start pushing this one out. At the moment, it's just losing creeps slowly but surely for free, which Vamana's technically already got ahead of because he managed to get that early lead. The early rotations helped him. Game Hunter needs to farm a little bit more just to get the catch back up. We see him go in there now, but he's just going to throw the axe and go back into the jungle. He can't show himself in lane, otherwise that's potential Gold Fury, especially with mid-harpies spawning too.
Yeah, they'll go right for it. Mid-camp's coming up. Right side looks like it's going to come up. No, they're going to come up right at the exact same time. Left going to be spawning right about now. And, well, it's a reset there, giving a lot of credit to Maniac. Lobster's going to throw a meatball over the wall, and it's not going to be in time. Sarkett going to the left side. Zero's going to try to pick this up for SK Gaming. Trixtank can have a hard time contesting that, and indeed he will not be able to. But Zero's been pretty quiet this game on the Sarkett. For a god that's really a gank specialist, haven't seen much out of her.
He has, but she's got to be very careful as well. I mean, he got in against Vulcan, but Vulcan's damage is so high that he tried to get the burst off, had to disengage, otherwise he was going to go down himself. If he did go down in that engagement when he went in so deep, it definitely would have been Gold Fury.
Yeah, but he's not keeping pace with the Freya here for Qvo
Very
Fred,
true.
who's picking it up ahead of him by about 2 levels here and looking to be a little bit over 600 gold. I'm sorry, 400 gold in favor of the Freya. So continuing to pull ahead, Demonic Grip nearly online, and that's really where Freya has, you know, it's essentially a full build at 3 items.
Well, Desert Fury popped by Zimstar there. As you see Badger getting banished as well. You pop the Desert Fury looking for zeros as well as making sure he didn't get hit by that ultimate. I think he was really worried about.
So much farm left on the table here. TSM's aggressive strategy at the Gold Fury, really forcing a different playstyle out of SK Gaming.
Yeah, even though it's a fast-paced game, in a sense, it's very slow because one Gold Fury down, one tower down, everyone roaming the jungle. It's all about positioning. They all realize as soon as they get one pick, the fight's going to break out again. Maybe we'll get a Gold Fury.
Yeah, and again, going back to Zeros, man, I just want to see him putting some pressure anywhere on this map.
Reels nearly gets caught out there.
Yeah, barely dodging away from that chain.
It was a nice roll.
And now you have Vamana all the way over in the duo lane looking to put a bit of pressure out.
And the one thing that happens with these games, Bob, when they go this long, is the fact that not everyone's getting as farm as quick as possible. So
yeah,
this might be a very long
backside.
game.
Let's take a look at Freya and Sarkett are going to have a bit of a juke. Sarkett going right for the ultimate. Fred not going to have enough damage. Sarkett just so elusive.
She is elusive, but she took a lot of poke from Qvo there as well, so you had to use most of her abilities to escape. Her death bane was used to escape there, instead of deal extra damage as well as the ult. Now Badger taking a bit of poke once again from Zimstar as Reels trades back with him. But like I was saying, I mean, the longer these guys like Chalk and Vamana are rotating into the other lanes too much, and that denies mid getting farmed, it denies duo getting farmed, which means the game's going to go on a lot longer because not everyone's going to hit 20, get the items they need.
Good news here for the Nua. Has completed probably the 3 most gold efficient damage items for a mage in the game, in the Obsidian Shard, Pen Boots, and Chronos Pendant. However, on the other side, the Vulcan has finished off his Book of Thoth on top of a Bancross.
On top of a Bancross.
That's a lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage. But Badger's starting off the Gold Fury here, using the ultimate, trying to burst it as quick as they can. But when you say burst, it's only a level 13 Ymir. Game Hunter's wary of this one.
It's too fast. No way Game Hunter get in time.
Oh, he's not going to get in time as well. He was caught out of position on that one. I guess they saw him base. That was all that happened. Maniac got to take a bit of poke on the front line, re-engage.
No.
No, good call. If that wall, that was actually Badger's wall to say no, Maniac.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was keeping access denied.
Access denied, indeed. But TSM trying to respond to this now by trying to push in mid lane. Zeros and Twig able to defend because it's new War. She should be able to with that fog, but they're going to continue the pressure and they've just got to watch themselves.
And that's what we were looking for out of SK Gaming, using that Ymir in the early mid stages of the game. Granted, a bit later than we would have expected, but the ultimate's still doing a reasonable amount of damage. Gold Fury got down to just over half health very quickly.
It was a really, really good call coming out from SK Gaming. They must have seen TSM, saw Trixtank back. The moment they saw it, they went.
Yeah.
There was nothing the TSM could do about it other than probably throw their lives away. I mean, maybe Game Hunter could have gone in a bit earlier, but would they have been that scared? Maybe they just turn on him and finish him off. And he would have been assisting with killing the Gold Fury anyway.
Yeah, probably one of the hardest things about playing Ares is contesting those camps effectively.
That's for sure.
You don't have a great movement ability to get in there. You're very susceptible to CC.
Oh, Trix about CC, does get CC. The full combo coming out from Zeros. Has to use the ultimate as well. The ultimate takes some Reels, picks up the kill with the snipes. New War getting in on the assist action as well. So another pickup for SK Gaming there. That was onto Trix one more time.
Yeah, pulling ahead for our first kind of advantage, if you could even call it that, in this game, pulling ahead by about 1,500 or 1,200 gold now as the lanes continue to farm up, but getting a bit of an advantage now in their favor. Granted, it's not going to be enough to spring the game wide open, but maybe when they force this mid tower as well, they'll pull ahead by a pretty sizable amount here. Granted, it's very late in the game. It feels like the mid-game period, even though it is out about 24 minutes, but they're going to pull ahead now by about 1,500 gold and at 1,500 experience.
This Ares pick, I don't think they were prepared for Ymir. In all honesty, Badger's not played Ymir in the SPL.
Yeah, I think they were looking for Bacchus to come out of Badger.
Yeah, I mean, they've seen Bacchus, they've seen Geb, they've seen the Ares himself, so they took it away from him. And then Ymir come on, they're like, well, we were expecting this. And Ymir is actually doing really good work against Ares as well, because he chains you and you freeze him, and then he can't continue to apply the chains and chase for the damage.
How do you feel about this Serket build, going for the Jotun's Wrath from behind?
Jotun's from behind, I mean, yeah, you can go for, well, you say from behind, he just went back and bought full Deathbringer.
Oh, okay.
It's like, ouch.
He's going to be all right.
He saved up for, yeah, he's fine, he's fine. I'm down with these Jotuns.
I love this build, Hindu man.
That was the best thing ever, the fact I was like, yeah, I'm not so sure. Oh, Deathbringer, okay.
Yeah, I was looking at his net worth and I was like, what?
So that means Zeros hasn't been back to base since getting enough gold for Deathbringer. Or he saved for it straight up. No one ever goes back and buys straight up Deathbringer. That's just weird.
Yeah, what a strange man.
That's really odd.
What goes on inside of his head?
I guess he's just not had time to back. I mean, he is level 17. He's equal level with Qtrs. The fight has been going on a long time. You got to sustain from bumpers.
Yeah, why not? Keep going.
Stay away from it.
Notably here, Chalk sitting on about 1,800, 1,900 gold now. What is his next item going to be? Is it?
He's got hide. He can go chins, but
it would be Witchblade would be the standard pickup in this position.
That's very true. Witchblade would be very, very strong against Reels. It'll be good against Maniac as well.
It'll be okay against Serket. I mean, you know. The thing about Witchblade, right, is it throws off the timings of those hits, and if you're not prepared for it, especially a guy like Serket who needs one hit, right, and if that one hit is off time from what you're expecting, perhaps it's enough to save a life.
You could possibly lose your combo from it as well. And then talk about Noir, I mean, it technically does affect it because of a root, and a lot of players play to that root advantage that she has in the passive.
Backside, Reels could be in some trouble here as Freya has rotated in. Reels has been banished out, now the damage, and it is just too much damage. Down goes Reels.
And in mid lane now, Lobster's in a lot of trouble as well, but does manage to aegis out of a lot of that damage. Noir takes this guy trying to finish him off, thanks to the dot damage coming out from that Cobra's Kiss. Sorry, from the last breath, but not enough to bring him down. So Lobster survives for now, but he's now on cooldown both actives.
Vulcan going to be your first player to hit 24, 0-3 for the Lobster.
Lobster's playing well, though.
Finished 32 stacks on that item, and he is pushing a lot of magical power at this juncture in the game, sitting at about 330 in comparison. Nuwa 288, so reasonable advantage there. I mean, she can't trade with him effectively.
Yeah, he seems that way as well. Oh, checking in with Chuck as well. It looks like he's going for chins, or he's going for Executioner here.
That's going to be the chins. Executioner already out on her. He's going to be building into it.
I mean, it looks like... I mean,
yeah, he has 1,000 gold in hand. He could have finished off the Executioner.
There you go, then. Yeah, so he's probably looking for the chins build. He's got Urchin online. That'll make him tanky enough for the front line that he needs to be if he can just stay in the fights longer. At the moment, he's not too worried about dealing damage, but I guess they expect him not to be a threat. So he can become one. I mean, Game Hunter's an aggressive dude.
I think they, you know, with the Sprint 3 plus the Weakening Curse here, he's going to be the Vamana killer.
There's going to be an extra no escape on the side of TSM, basically, when Game Hunter gets that chins online. Because he will... And it's very good against Vamana as well, even in big baby form, just because it does percentage of health every single time.
Exactly.
It's really, really effective. And against Ymir, too.
Gold Fury going to be coming back up here in about the next 20 seconds. SK already in position. Looks like they cleared out the wards of TSM, but they should know the jig is up here. I mean, TSM has got to have their timers.
I'm pretty sure both teams know the other team wants the Gold Fury as soon as it spawns. So they've both got the timers ready. The War Sentry ward comes down straight away. Trix clears that. The whole team groups up just to clear wards. That's how important these Gold Fury fights are between these two teams. At the moment, though, 1,100 experience, 1,300 gold separate the two, both in favor of SK for now. This next Gold Fury has to go to TSM, really. Otherwise, the lead's going to get a bit too much.
There's no more reveal wards in either of the team's hands, and vision advantage in favor of SK Gaming.
That's really important, too, because now that means Trix has to go back to base. And last time he did that, but
they went right in.
They took it.
And now Trixtank does have his Magus Blessing online, which will help his contest a bit. Won't be able to get CC'd out by that Amir, but it's a pretty big itemization path to go down. And once again, look at the bulwarks coming out and showing in force. Vamana picking up his bulwark. Amir going to be building in one as well, it looks like here.
Bulwarks
bulwark
the Chinese.
Yeah, it's that Chinese build.
Yeah, the Chinese were doing it, and everyone was like, why are they building bulwark? And everyone was like, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, Kret doesn't get credit for that one, though.
No. Only for the unicorns. Only for unicorns. But Gold Fury, once again, you can just see Maniac went back to base there as well. He picks up a Sentry Ward. That's all he went back for? Sentry Ward. Did get a little bit of crit as well, but the Sentry Ward was the most important reason for him to go back in that situation. Yeah. Just to keep the control going one more time. No one from TSM has gone back, so still no wards. Badger trying to get a pick there, and he's going to be
Maniac to be in some trouble here.
That is a big ultimate, importantly wasted from the side of SK Gaming. Because this next Gold Fury fight now is definitely in TSM's favor. Especially
considering they didn't force out the Weakening Curse out of Game Hunter there. You really want probably to see that come out, force that. If you're going to use the ultimate, force them to use their big cooldown. That's going to really help counter a lot of the team here. I mean, it's the healing reduction is pretty much meaningless except for onto the ROM, but it's that big slow helping them chase down these characters, especially synergizes well with that Ares.
I'd love to see them send Game Hunter back to base quickly just to go and get Sentry Ward. They shouldn't send Tricks because he's the Hog 3, but Game Hunter's got Sprint so he can try and close the gap. He's also got the axe to jump over the wall as well if he really needs to get there quickly. But they need to get control of this Gold Fury right now. I mean, I guess with the situation of forcing that, SK Gaming probably won't want to do the Gold Fury without having Big Baby available.
Well, you know, looking at our hunters here, Rom has pulled ahead of on her by about 500 gold. He's won his lane fairly well, but at 2-2-1 versus 1-2-6, you can just see that Zimstar's had a much bigger impact on this game.
Yeah, I mean, he has. He's done a really, really good job so far with what he's been trying to do. I mean, he's stayed lane. He's very confident on Anher. He's got a 100% win ratio on Anher since he's been playing in the SPL for TSM. And I believe they've got a record of like 80% of the games they've won now when Zimstar's been on the side.
Nice.
It's not bad.
The numbers don't lie.
But that also includes when he's been subbing too, but...
Oh, okay. Indeed,
so that's really interesting.
That is, yeah.
He's jumped in many different roles for the team. 80% win ratio when he's played. Not
yeah,
bad.
and he's played what?
He's played solo, he's played support
and hunter, right?
Yeah, so he's been for a few roles.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody that not a lot of people know because he doesn't play like ranked or anything like that or stream, like he's, you know, he must have some ability to be able to just jump in on the fly into a team like TSM and, you know, make things work.
This game is shaping up to really be a kind of one and done team fight late game sort of game. It feels like it's, you know, these Gold Fury contentions, they're all skirmishes. It's going to be that Fire Giant that's really going to break this game open. It feels like here.
I actually think a Gold Fury fight's going to break out, and eventually one team's going to win the Gold Fury fight, but not even do that, just rush Fire, and that's when we'll see the game go one way or the other. And that's how it'll probably be. It'll be one team going on to defense. But now Chuck has gone and got that Chins online now, so he's going to start dealing damage. He's still only got one stack of the Hard Urchin, but that's fine. Checking in with Vamana, he's working on that crit now, so he'll have that rage soon, and then the baby will start to smash.
Yeah, crit coming out in force here, actually, from SK Gaming. You have the short sword finished onto the Vamana here, as well as Rom, and Serket has started off her second crit item now, and, well, they're sitting on a reasonable amount of gold in hand as well, about 1,000 of that Serket. That's going to really help elevate her farm. Ratatouille completed onto the new Deathbringer just completed now on Rom as well. And notably, Amir sitting on 2,000 gold here.
What's he going to be waiting for 2,000 gold for? I mean, I know he can't go back because of the Gold Fury.
Yeah.
So he start this 2,000 gold going, guys, I probably want to go back and finish
1,500 on Ares as well. They both have been frozen completely.
They're just both frozen. And now you're going to see TSM trying to engage Trix. He's doing zoning work right now onto Zeros, who takes so much damage from Trix alone. Oh my god, the burst was real. And now Trix going to hit 3 members with the no escape. Badger gets hit into the wall, has to use the ultimate defensively. Game Hunter with the silence right after. Badger's very low. He's going to drop down. And can Reels clean up in response?
Reels could be in a bit of trouble here. He's going to be forced to eat a lot of damage from the Game Hunter. The slow coming out as well. Backing off now is Game Hunter, seeing that Deathbringer is completed. Maniac is going to rally back to his team, but there should be Gold Fury for TSM if they want it.
Trix has got to stay alive, though. That's the question. And Zimstar's doing a good job of trying to make that happen, but Game Hunter gets caught out by the Cobra's Kiss, and Reels picks him up with the help of Zeros there.
Lack of wards.
Brings it down, but now Zimstar needs to watch his positioning here, because if he stays around too long, he could get caught out. Zeros is round the back. Very low health, in ambush form right now, waiting patiently, looking for the pick. He wants Trix tank.
Clever play as well there, Zimstar and Cuba Fred using their lifesteal to heal back up a bit. Twig gonna get knocked out. Where's that Serket? She's on the backside. She has a great opportunity here, but I mean, those supports being frozen for so long, not able to pick up as many wards they may have liked. The roll was blown, but they can't pursue it. Maniac with the knock up there. Oh, the crit.
Zims takes so much, and then the burst coming out actually hits Cuba. Fred Zimstar jumps away, but Zeros is around the back. Can he find anything on him? Double Cobra's Kiss, but Zimstar finds the kill. Maniac cleans it up in response, though. Trick's going to try and run to the tower, but the slow comes out from the baby. He doesn't want to continue the pressure. They're going to back away, steal away blue. They can go for Gold Fury now. Trix has to base. Ymir's online. This is Gold Fury for SK.
Reels is a man standing his ground and firing out those in hands from the Rom, doing a lot of damage, and now it's going to be enough to pick up Lobster as well. The 512 damage crit from Reels, the captain of SK Gaming, and they'll get the Gold Fury as well with that protracted engagement. 15 to 20 minutes there, jockeying over this Gold Fury, and it goes to SK Gaming. Morale destroyed.
It's literally about 20 minutes. It's been since we've been sat here talking about this Gold Fury the whole fight. Look at the golden experience now, 4.2k experience lead for SK, 4,000
they picked
gold
up
lead.
3 level 20s.
Would you have done Gold Fury though, or did you go Fire? I'd probably gone Fire.
You know, they may have been able to get the Fire Giant, but it's just that's just such a moral victory.
Yeah, but we got the Gold Fury. Yes. Fix me. We're 2-1 in
after
Gold
that long of contesting it, just to pick it up.
But now, Bart.
Catharsis.
But now, Bart, it's going to start the other side of the map now.
Right, yeah, now it's
20
going to be
minutes more.
Now it's going to be the Fire Giant,
Fire Giant
back
siege.
and forth here.
backwards and forwards. As you can see, both teams gone back all... Look at how many sentry wards were in those inventories.
Yeah, now they don't want to play that game again. Looking at the supports here, it's going to be the finished off Bulwark into what appears to be perhaps a Magi's Blessing for the Amir. On the other side, it's Ares with his Magi's going into Witch.
Game Hunter's in a bit of trouble here, but he is the tankiest team member of the team. Gonna use the ultimate to defend. Maniac's used the ultimate as well to chase after. He gets brought down. Trix Tank trying to use his ult with the no escape. Gonna go in, pull him free. But the snipes coming out from Real's gonna bring him down, and that is gonna be a fire giant very, very quickly.
Yeah, easy play too. Trix and Game Hunter both down. That's a lot of their AoE initiation. Lobster can throw out a bomb, I suppose, but he's in the mid lane. SK Gaming, what looked to be maybe a ponderously paced late game, has taken a Gold Fury into Fire Giant in rapid succession, pulling ahead now by a pretty nice margin, 6,000 XP, 5,000 gold, the first real advantage of the game.
Zim's trying to push out mid lane. He's going to do mid harpies. He needs to be careful because Zeros is going to come around and see him. Going to pop the bead preemptively. They see that preemptive bead, so make sure he didn't get the Cobra's kiss.
Look at Maniac's positioning here.
Just waiting.
He's afraid of no man.
Looking for the rotations and just pick him up. He's
beautiful positioning from SK Gaming here. Look at this. They have their whole team in the mid lane, and then they've managed to swing Reels all the way to the right side here. It's going to be almost impossible for them to contest into this split push now, as they'd have to go through that mid lane. Now, what I'm looking for is that ward just to the right of where the team is rotating now to spot out those rotations between the lanes and continue to pressure both sides.
It's very, very important. Well, tier 2 down on the middle, tier 2 tower on the right down. They're going to just try and steal away a little bit of jungle buffs too. They're not looking to siege left to bring those towers down, extend their gold and experience a little bit further, because they've been starved a little bit to an extent with how slow this game's been. And
you're really seeing the difference between a standard 100 build and a little bit more of off the beaten path here. It's an Aussie here for Zimstar on top of his Rageblade Executioner, so significantly more attack speed. But Rom, a big attack speed steroid for himself, as well as a Deathbringer Rageblade completed.
Well, let's look at it this way. Deathbringer is the difference between Deathbringer and Assy. Which would you prefer?
Right. One of those items costs 1,900 gold, the other one costs 3,000.
And one of them will make sure that when you crit hard.
Right.
And the other one, not as much crit. You know, this is obviously gets extra lifesteal from it.
It gets pen and lifesteal, but
it's painful.
There's a sovereignty. It's not like you're seeing multiple physical damage, mitigating items. I suppose there's the Witchblade on the Vomita, but is that enough? And I love this. Maniac's going to be going for Fatalis here as his last item in the build. We've actually seen less and less of this as Sprint 3s become more and more popular, but Maniac with a Sprint 3 on top of that Fatalis is going to be a nightmare as this game concludes.
Oh, for sure. Especially because he's going to be able to continue chasing with that Sprint. Just go in deep. But here's Trix. Going to blink in. No escape on multiple members. Going to force out Big Baby, who's going to start chunking down. He's got the crit damage for this. He's getting very, very low here thanks to the weakening curse, I believe, was used as well. Lobster does find Maniac and bring him down. What can they do in response?
Fred's going to take some damage there. Badger putting out a nice amount out of his ultimate, but this looks like a fight one for TSM. The detonation of the ultimate from SK. Zeros finds himself a kill on the Trix tank, but they lose Reels and Maniac. They're two kind of carries at this stage in the game.
We said this at the start of the game. The solo lane and the duo lane is where it's all at. Reels is dead, the duo lane. Maniac, solo lane, dead. Disengaged, the whole team leaves. Yep. They've got 3 members with Fire Giant, but they're not the carries.
But what can TSM do to capitalize off of that defense? I mean, it's their only remaining tower. And, well, their jungle is completely farmed out. Zimstar's going to find himself a blue buff, but they're not going to find their way back into the game on the back of that fight.
The good news is they didn't lose a Phoenix. Like, they've not lost a Phoenix yet. They've got 3 members with Fire Giant. They can still group up a little bit time left remaining on that buff, but I feel like this is SK's game to an extent here, but the longer this goes on, like everyone's hitting level 20 now, so experience doesn't matter. It's going to just come down to gold and builds, but if you see builds and gold, everyone's starting to reach that full build slowly.
And it looks like Nua's going to be having that, just a lot of damage coming out. Not on top of her, like, kind of core. She has the Rod Jehudi, and it looks like she's going to be going for, yep, there it is, completed. Soul Reaver online, so the burst is very, very dangerous now. Really, any of these characters besides the Ares get caught out, and maybe the Chalk, they're dead.
That's right. I mean, at the moment, you can see SK's builds are a little bit more advanced. That's just because the gold lead they've got, that 8,000, is being put to use right now. You'll see if this game continues, which I think it will do for a while now, but the TSM will catch up and probably complete items before we see the game over.
Well, this is the last real power spike that SK Gaming is going to get for the remainder of the game. Finishing off these items ahead of TSM, this is where they have to kind of flex their muscles.
They have to abuse this now, and that's what they're looking to do now as they push down this left-hand side.
But the warning is real from TSM.
Well, talking about Reels, he's actually pushing the lane as well, waiting for the team. But yep, sentries constantly over the top of each other. You can see the clay minions used. There's still some power in that new war split push ability. Blinking from Trix again, 5 man. But what's he going to get out of it? No one gets pulled in. Ultimates were forced though in response. It was a great ultimate, and that's some cooldowns burn. Now they can siege again. That's right, but what can they follow this up with? What do they have to follow up all those beads you used? It's got to be Game Hunter going in and getting that big silence. That's right. Game Hunter going in or a big banish coming out for Qtrs, but talking about going in. Blink from Badger goes in Frost Breath, but that's onto Lobster, into a Banish after the beads. And now can they find something as this Earthshaker comes out as well? Aegis out. Game Hunter, though, does get hit up by zeros, but Duke's back to his axe with the dunk. He's going to slowly tick down, though, to the poison damage. Qtrs in the sky, trying to find a kill.
Look at Zimstar behind him. The minions are going to pop. It's going to hit Fred. Fred in the backside. He's going to die before the well. Oh, no. What a misplay by Team Solomid. They didn't notice the minions.
Hit the minions. The minions bleed onto Qvo. Qvo goes down, running for his... No. Oh. That was so unfortunate.
Oh, no.
But very fortunate for SK.
Yeah, SK Gaming happy with that play. And they're going to get
like,
another Gold Fury.
Zeus like, meant that.
Yeah, that's why I ulted him.
Yeah, that's why I knew exactly where he was going. I knew he was going to escape to his axe straight into the minion wave.
Yeah, the synergy between that last breath on Circuit and the Rom plus Nuwa, they're able to just chip down those characters. You know, you're sitting at about a quarter HP. You're like, you know, I'm not going to die to it. And then the burst starts coming through, that semi-global and global burst starts coming through, and then you're in a bad position there. Exactly. And, well, boom goes the dynamite.
Well, I mean, taking out Chak is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But when Trixtank used his ultimate already, doesn't get anything out of it, the next attention of who's their engaged going to be, or the big damage dealer, the front line, is Chak. So they went on him, which is unusual, because you normally go for the back line. But you saw Ymir go in on the back line, and the damage actually destroyed that Chak, kept him out of the fight.
Yeah, smart target prioritization from SK there. Sure. Let's just make sure the Vulcan doesn't destroy us with his 6 slots.
They did, and they also forced a Banish by...
that was one of the fastest Fire Giants you're going to see.
That was really, really quick. But it's a full build team now, and they're going to go aggressive, trying to find Trixtank, who's going to have to blink away. But Maniac's not finished, he's still chasing onto him. Game Hunter actually going to throw the axe out, force them back for the moment. But Fire Giant once again online for SK. This is game 1, but game 1 of a best of 3.
40 minutes, it's definitely our longest game of the day here. And, well, it's a 6-slot Rom for reals, and a nearly 6-slotted Nuwa for Captain Twig, likely to be a gem as his final item here. Just playing that global slow. Could be an E-staff as well, just give himself a bit more survivability.
Well, Zimstar's working on that Deathbringer now as well. Like, he'll be completed relatively soon as well, so he'll be reaching full build.
The Circuit is way ahead of him.
Yeah, Circuit really is.
I mean, Circuit's, she's complete. 6-2 and 6. Zero's had a rough start. This is typical Zero's play.
It is.
I mean, unless he's playing Thanatos, he's like just kind of around, and then all of a sudden, you know, 40 minutes, he's making plays.
Well, here we go. Badger's going to actually just try and tank up this tower with the minions. He's going to try and get aggro for his team, just be that zone, forcing the wall back if they can. Can they actually burst this down? Well, they're trying to get in range, but here comes Trix with the no escape. Big Baby's already online. He's already dead. Trixtank doesn't get a chance. Maniac just finds Zimstar though with the crit damage. He's looking for Qvo too, forcing out the ultimate from Qvo. Can Qvo get away? He can for now, but Real cleans up Lobster, turns around, smashes Maniac as well. And now Game Hunter's forced back. This is the end. SK Gaming quickly end this one, Bob.
Yeah, like immediately when we were like, this one seems like it's gonna be a one fight decided.
Yeah.
They took a fight and they won the game. They took the Gold Fury, they took the Fire Giant, they made a lot out of that first Fire Giant. It forced out this second fight that, well, at the end of the day, SK Gaming seemed to be, I don't even know really how that game ended up the way it did. TSM got that first Gold Fury, even though they did not have that Amir, which is really surprising to me. But then SK took the subsequent 3.
But the second Gold Fury was the important one when Trixtank based. The moment he based, the moment SK Gaming abused that situation, went in, took it, and then it set up this whole thing of, well, SK slightly in the lead in terms of gold, but not by much. And then it was all positioning once again for the next one. Trix goes in, forces an ultimate onto Maniac, if you remember. They forced out Big Baby.
Yeah,
but then they reset and waited patiently until Big Baby came back up again. Then SK wanted to do it again.
You know, another thing to look at here is, you know, the team fights did go in favor of SK, and the assists definitely belie that. 51 assists on 19 kills coming out of SK, and you're looking at 33 assists on 13 for TSM. Not as involved in those fights, and those later stage team fights where they were 10-man just went the way of SK.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the kills as well, all the kills were on Vulcan to an extent. Lobster did a great job in that game.
Yeah, he did.
But they need him
Wasn't enough.
They need him on, like, Freya. Freya's very, very hyper carry late game as well. Qvo didn't manage to reach full build overall.
Yeah.
She hit most of her build, but she managed to get that rudder to who?
He was ahead of Circuit all game until the tower started to fall. Circuit got the damage, and then once the crit came online, it was enough. Yep. And well, you didn't see that killer instinct out of Zimstar and Fred, right? I didn't see them aggressing, really, you know, finding those kills, making plays happen for the team like Reals was.
Not as much as we've seen. I guess it's because Trix was playing Ares, though. So they were allowing Ares to do all the work on the front line, and then trying to follow up from that. If you notice, he was actually playing it like the Peel support, where he sat in the back as Freya, and the moment like Lobster got aggressed on, they were banishing.
Now, what's really interesting here to me is again, like that Ares pick. If you're going to play this highly objective-based game, why do you pick Ares?
I don't think they expected Ymir, that's why.
They were expecting the Bacchus, or...
Let's look at Badger's got pulled from what we knew.
Yeah.
He played Bacchus,
Yeah.
he played Geb, and he played Ares.
Right.
If we pick Ares,
Ares
is good against Geb.
Good against Geb,
We know
good against
that.
Bacchus, yeah.
Good against Bacchus. Why not take it away from him and throw that in their face? But then, you know, SK's like, well, we'll just pull out your beer.
Yeah, and not an amazing showing from Badger.
No, he wasn't.
But it was good enough, right?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
wasn't poor.
No.
And when you go deep in your God pool like that, if you can still bring that high-level play to the table, even if it's not signature for you,
Exactly.
it still worked out to be enough for SK Gaming to get that first win.
The walls did enough work. His Frost Breath did enough work as well in many situations against like tricks coming in with the chains as well, or just blinking in, going aggressive on Lobster to make sure Lobster had to play defensively, not engage in the fight.
Well, we do have a replay here of Maniac picking up a double kill in this game. Let's go ahead and take a look at that bad boy.
We're starting to see more and more of these Vamana double kills. You know,
Yeah.
doubles, triples, quadruples.
With Vamana getting multi-kills, where have we seen that before? Yeah, this is where Trick's saying, you know, he thinks
Look at the crit damage.
maybe it's going to work with the crit, just bleeding him out, and Zimstar.
3 shots.
Just, this is
1, 2,
why you don't
3,
let people draft
4.
Vamana.
That was 3, and he was in the air. That 4th hit, he was dead.
Yeah.
He hit him with 3 shots and then goes in and goes, yeah, I'll just take it too.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Take that one to the bank. SK Gaming's Maniac closing this one out.
Well, this is the thing about Maniac. Maniac came out of nowhere with Vamana. He was generally known as a Chonga, as an Aphrodite, as a rock player.
Right, yeah.
Sustain.
Yeah.
That's what
All
he's known
sustain-based
for.
mages.
And he was always not, you know, he was always left in that situation where
indeed.
everyone expected him to be sustained. Then he brings out Vamana. And he had an 88% win ratio before this game.
You know, and it's like he's hit Vamana at the right point, you know, because I think a lot of players have shied away from Aphrodite and Vamana simply because they are tired of playing them. And Maniac's like, I like this guy, he's brand new and fresh to me.
Exactly.
But
Well, I think he came back when Zalia brought him back with the Rage.
Yeah, indeed.
Zalia brought him back with Crit, and then a few others started looking at him and going, Crit on Vamana.
Well, we'll see if the Bulwark trends continue into the next game. That does it for game number 1, guys, from the desk. I've been hi-rez Bart, that's Hindu Man, and we'll be back for game number 2's coverage in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Much love, and we'll see you for SK Gaming versus TSM, potentially the conclusion in game 2.